What's up, guys, and welcome finally to the GameShow Global Esports Cup. It's going to be best of two between Elite Wolves and Root Gaming. I'm Mikelorus, going to be joined by MRP for this game. Oh, we've had a lot of delays over the past couple days, and this one's no exception. Even the casters starting to get into the delays, but not us, man. We're always here. We're always here, and we're always on time.
We're always waiting for someone, aren't we? I mean,
Yep.
For some reason it was a caster this time, Dan's game. But either way, it looks like we'll actually get into this one. And what do you know? They ban out Doom. I think the patch went through, so Doom has been nerfed, has he not? But yeah,
No,
still pretty strong.
it's not yet until after Nan.
Right, until the tournament conclusion. So that would be tonight, I guess.
Is it tonight? I have
Yeah.
no idea.
Secret
I'm
versus
sleeping,
Vici.
so I don't know.
Secret versus Vici tonight, grand finals. So first pick Wyvern come out for Root Gaming. Feels like they got a pretty tough task ahead of them in Elite Wolves. They've looked pretty sharp from what I've seen from them in GameShow thus far. And Root kind of shuffling around their roster, at least recently, if not very recently. So we'll see how they fare here.
Unfortunately, all their names were tagged up properly in the lobby. Now they're not,
Yeah.
so what you see, guys, is what you're going to get. I don't know, Reborn has really been acting up, at least as far as official names are concerned. Hopefully we're actually going to get our tickets soon, but, you know, Valve time and all that. But either way, it's going to be Winter Wyvern first pick here for the Root Gaming side. The most common follow-up to this is usually one of those mid-lane heroes, you know, Queen of Pain, Shadow Fiend. Obviously, that's not going to be a possibility. I'm pretty sure Elite Wolves right now, considering the IO, for some reason there's still an IO in the pool, and if there is, you should probably be thinking about it at the very least. Ember Spirit, though, is instead going to be the pick. Whoa.
Yeah, Mirana. Ugh. I feel like this hero's, I mean, pretty good against the Cold Embrace, right? But, I mean, I have actually seen both Mystico and Masoku, even in the core role for Masoku, run this pretty well. And generally speaking, they do set up most of their arrows with the Searing Chains from Smash's Ember Spirit. So we'll see if the Ember ends up going mid. I feel like picking him up this early is going to leave him pretty vulnerable to a lot of unfavorable or disadvantageous matchups in that mid lane. But we'll see how they make it work.
Yeah, not just as far as the mid lane is concerned. Like, there are many bad matchups there for the Ember Spirit. At least, let's just say there's more bad matchups than great matchups. I think the real big problem with this, the fact that Night Stalker is still in the pool for Root, and it's definitely not too late to grab him, throw him into the off lane, put him in the support role. Either way doesn't matter. As long as they have a point in Crippling Fear, Ember Spirit is going to be really, really crippled. And, you know, Mirana perhaps to a lesser extent, but still, I mean, that Crippling Fear is looking just absolutely premium here for Root Gaming. So, I mean, at least the Doom's banned out, right? But the Mirana, as you said, I've seen them set up some pretty outrageous plays with pretty much nothing, just throwing arrows out and sometimes hitting them. And if you can do that, great, you're going to be getting those kills. But yeah, landing them is always going to be a little bit of a coin flip.
Yeah, there's some other pretty intimidating lockdown available to Root here in the Wind Ranger, and just generally a very stable pick. More often than not, we'll see this in the mid lane. Haven't really seen much of off lane Wind Ranger at all lately, with a lot of the aggressive dual lane configurations coming out. But up against the Ember Spirit, great attack animation, good projectile speed, not bad base damage, and Ember, of course, pretty notoriously weak to physical damage early on. He relies kind of on that Flame Guard to have effective HP. But yeah, up against the Wind Ranger is not going to fare extremely well without some pretty often roaming support. And of course, they do have the propensity to do so with a Mirana in their lineup early on. So I don't mind the Ember pickup, but I still feel like, yeah, they left it a little wide open for Root, and being able to pick up the Wind Ranger this early on is already kind of them dealing with the Ember Spirit without really needing any support presence mid lane.
And speaking of physical damage, Slardar is still in the pool. Some teams, I think, may not like him as much as others. I think you know, picking up Slardar later is definitely what you want to be doing if you can. The only problem is you just can't do that all the time. That's why we see him picked up that much earlier. But Slardar for Root definitely looking a little bit more appealing perhaps than Slardar for Elite Wolves, though I could definitely see both sides running that to some degree of success. You know, physical damage amplification with Wind Ranger is absolutely absurd, especially if you're going to someone soft like Ember Spirit or Mirana. Interesting to see Root Gaming ban out the Night Stalker. I mean, Night Stalker is just overall a powerful hero, so I guess it's to some degree understandable. But again, Night Stalker would have been insane with Root Gaming's draft already, and against what the Wolves have.
Felt like it worked well with their lineup, so yeah. Interesting to see it come out. I guess the next pick, of course, is going the way of the Radiant side, so perhaps a little bit worried about that pick deny coming up from their side. He's pretty good against both the Wyvern and the Rin Ranger, especially if he's able to get up quite a bit of vision, and having Darkness on top of that will often allow him to close the distance before an Embrace, an Arctic Burn, or a Wind Run get off. So yeah, it still could have worked decently well, but with already Mirana being picked up, if Mirana ends up being a core, which it has been for Elite Wolves in the hands of Masoku from time to time, having an Ember, Mirana, Night Stalker, Tricore doesn't necessarily mean you scale extremely well. So either way, maybe it would have been interesting to see if Elite Wolves pick it up, but definitely just a strong hero band out. As you mentioned, still a Slardar in the pool, and we'll see if Elite Wolves opt for it for themselves. Root Gaming probably more enticing to them in that pick, but other than that, most of these strong heroes in the recent meta have been removed from the pool.
And there's also the IO still, or it's probably not going to be picked up at this point for Elite Wolves. The chances aren't necessarily zero, but yeah, just having an IO here and not being picked up is just really freaking weird to me right now. It's not too late for Root Gaming to grab it, and Elite Wolves are not exactly super well prepared to deal with an IO right now, but you know, 4th pick Disruptor, 5th pick Witch Doctor, they're good to go. I mean, they could definitely shape it up as far as finishing off the draft is concerned, but instead we're gonna have a Bane pick for the Root Gaming side. I'm getting a little bit more respect for Bane as I see him a little bit more. Of course, having a point click disable up against someone like Ember Spirit Mirana, definitely very useful. The only issue right now is that they don't really have much to set up for in the way of the laning phase, but it's not too late, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, Bane has great early roam, and there's some poke with the Arctic Burn as well as the Splinter Blast, so this duo can be pretty intimidating in lane. I feel like some of it is a pick deny. Bane works extremely well with the relocate, so perhaps Root recognizing what you were saying in that the IO is still available to E-Wolves, and in that respect, the Bane would work both to set up a relocate and a Sacred Arrow from Mirana, so it would have been really, really scary for them to give that hero over to Elite Wolves if they pick up the IO here. But for now, they're going to go for that Dazzle pickup, and I mean, just generally probably one of the strongest supports right now, especially when you have heroes like Slardar who want to sprint and take a little bit more damage and jump themselves into the middle of the fray, but don't know that really Root have too much burst to be worried about, so the Grave could do some work here, but don't know that the Dazzle is in any sense a direct counter pick to what Root have to offer. Of course, Dazzle up against Ember pretty good, but already 2 supports out for Root, so interesting pick, and we'll help them to queue up the aggression a bit, but don't see any direct counters for this Dazzle yet.
And the only issue I see here from Elite Wolves is that they may lack super easy arrow combos. Like you said, Ember Spirit Chains, similar. You have Slardar Crush. These aren't, guaranteed, but it's possible that they land those arrows. But I mean, obviously you want to increase the chances of arrows landing as much as you possibly can. But now, even if arrows were to land, Root Gaming are going to have an answer. Legion Commander, point click, purge off of amplified damage. You get rid of arrow stun. You could also get rid of those chains. Legion Commander, just as a utility hero, seems rather decent for the Root Gaming side. It seems like there's a chance that she's going to go towards the off lane in a possibly dual lane scenario. I don't know, usually when we see Legion Commander, it's as a 5th pick when you're really just scraping the bottom of the barrel. You pick her up because you can't get yourself a Clockwork or something like that. But as a utility hero, it seems like she is going to be performing really well in this game.
Yeah, I mean, we don't see Legion Commander more often than not before the 5th pick, and you probably don't see it into a Mirana and a Dazzle. So, yeah, picking up the Legion here is curious to me, to say the least. I mean, it's not bad for pickoffs. Bane can set it up. Wind Ranger has the Focus Fire. You've got the Cold Embrace if you really get into trouble and you are a little bit over-optimistic about your duel. But into a Grave and an Arrow, it's questionable, I think, to say the least. The duel is very nice up against the Ember Spirit, and raw damage is also very good against the Ember. But Root Gaming are going to have to be really diligent, I feel, about keeping vision and finding good scenarios to jump for that duel.
They really do lack that, really big punch so that they could duel and instantly get kills. Obviously, the best, the one that comes to mind the most is going to be Skywrath Mage. Secondary to that is perhaps Witch Doctor. We do have a Clockwork being banned out regardless, so definitely interesting to see that. I think one of the scariest things that I've seen is IO Legion Commander, although that's still just not available for Root. They really don't want to be doing that. Then you have like a Core Bane or something like that. I don't know, but Either way, it does seem like Root Gaming is looking for one more core, and I'm not really
Yeah.
sure how likely it would have been that it would have been Clockwork, but
Yeah.
either way, he's going to be taken out along with the Brood Mother from the Root Gaming side, even after having a Legion Commander already. A little bit interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Clockwork kind of has anti-synergy with the Legion, so
Hmm.
interesting ban. I feel this hero isn't necessarily exactly very strong without the IO, but the Warcry does wonders against Mirana, Slardar, and Dazzle. So I feel like Sven could work here. The right click on top of a duel could be huge against the Ember Spirit. He's got that point click disable as well. Not point click, it's a projectile, of course, but the Stormbolt could do some work here too. I originally thought Ursa, but with the leap, the sprint, the chains, the jump out, there's way too much kite ability here. So I wouldn't mind seeing something like a Sven or any kind of carry with lockdown. My other thought was the Slark having the pounce available, but Elite Wolves are going to pick that up for themselves. And I definitely feel like Slark works really well with their lineup thus far, and it therefore will be a support Mirana. So we'll see if Mystical or N3 or Masoku are able to get anything done on this Mirana. Yeah, apologies. I must have said Masoku before in the core role. N3 would have been playing the core role, and Masoku would be in the support Mirana. So that'll probably be the case here.
Well, I think you said that correctly.
5 seconds.
I'm pretty sure
Ah,
you did. Unless I'm tripping also, which is definitely possible. But for Elite Wolves right now, again, they don't really have the best point-click disable so that they can actually land the Mirana arrows easily, but Slark, Slardar, and Ember Spirit all can do that at least to some extent. So for E-Wolves, this pick seems, pretty reasonable, especially with the Dazzle. It's going to be really hard for Root Gaming to actually lock down a Slark. I mean, they definitely have ways of doing so, just like fly into a curse or just grip them randomly. These are far from guaranteed ways of locking down the Slark, but it looks like they should, for the most part, have enough damage to do so. I'm still assuming this Legion Commander is going to be in a dual lane in some capacity, in which case Root Gaming should be looking for some sort of damage dealer, some sort of matchup against the Slardar. There aren't really many bad matchups in that sense if Root Gaming are just going to have a safe laner, but this Legion Commander still is a little bit of a question mark as to where she's actually going to go, how much priority Root Gaming are actually going to give to this LC.
Yeah, I feel like they still, you mentioned it before, I still feel like they still lack the burst. I mean, there's only 5 seconds of reserve time, so we'll see what it is soon. I feel like this Sven kind of fits that role. My other thought was a Beastmaster. Magnus kind of serves the same purpose, but still, now there's going to be a lot on this Wind Ranger LC duo. Some skewers can be set up, I guess, from the Nightmare, which is nice. So the Winter's Curse is there too for that on top of an RP or vice versa. So the Magnus pick isn't bad. How he fares in lane is probably not going to be the greatest, but there is a little bit of a lack of catch early on with the Ember Spirit being in the mid lane for that defensive tri-lane for the Radiant side. So perhaps Magnus is able to find himself a bit of farm.
Yeah, and just being able to accelerate the Legion Commander, this seems like it's they kind of, Root Gaming ended up with a very like snowball-y based draft. Legion Commander, of course, I mean, is inherently like that, but Magnus isn't exactly the best scaler into the late game. I mean, the RP is always going to be good, but as far as actual damage contributions, he mostly just puts his damage into some other hero with the Empower, with the ability to set them up with the RP. So it's going to be interesting to see how much of this Magnus actually gets, and it's going to be interesting to see what looks like a safe lane Legion Commander. I don't think I've seen this actually ever.
I've seen it, but it's been a while for me as well. And I don't think they have really any other choice. I mean, you put the Magnus in the mid lane, and the Ember draws way too well. So I feel like you have to have the Wind Ranger there. You can put the Legion in the off lane, but I feel like Magnus is able to get a little bit more out of that. The one problem with the Legion in the safe lane is that she's not going to be zoning any offlaners out. So.
Either way, hopefully we can actually get this game going. Unfortunately, again, the names, guys, are not exactly what they should be.
I've memorized Elite Wolves at this point, but
go for it, dude.
All right, over on the Radiant side, we're going to have Elite Wolves. The Dazzle is going to be picked up by Hehe or Mystical. Over towards that offlane, Ilanka Fanboy or your Pastor Smash is going to pick up the Ember Spirit. D20.9 or Masoku is going to be on one of his signature heroes on the Mirana. And towards the mid lane, we're going to have Peru. I got to forget this one. It is, who's the other? Oh, N3 is going to be picking up Peru. My bad, guys. And Van is actually have his real name picking up the Slark. So kudos to you, Van, for making life easy.
I'll remember Van's name. I will not remember anyone else. I might remember Smash Ember because it's a thing. But for Root Gaming, it's gonna be a little bit more of a mess here. It's Derp on the Winter Wyvern and Stan King on the Bane. I mean, that's fine. Other than that, like Woo's Wind Ranger, Live for Your Love, Legion Commander Kappa Ross, not regular Kappa, not Kappa Pride, is on the Magnus. I do love that emote, dude. It's just a great emote.
It really is. Kappa plus tryhard equals Kappa Ross. Bot lane could be a little bit of trouble, Van, but yeah, it doesn't even need to skill up the pounds. They'll just back off. Wisely so. Top lane baiting out the Bounty Rune, maybe. They're going to give it over to N3. And could it be a mid lane Slardar at this point? It will. So they're going to look to have Smash over in that off lane, and perhaps they feel he's a little bit more reliable setting up arrows for Masoku.
Well, it is going to be a little bit of a dangerous scenario here in this off lane. Obviously, being off lane, but obviously you expect more heroes to be here. And I guess that concentration of heroes kind of works out a little bit better for this Mirana. You fire an arrow into a crowd, you're probably going to hit someone. We're also going to be seeing not a safe lane Legion Commander. It's going to be mid lane Legion up against mid lane Slardar. So I feel like there was just many layers of mind gaming going on here, and I'm not really sure who got the upper hand, although I would expect Legion Commander to have a slightly better lane than a Slardar, not by a huge amount, just by a very narrow margin. Just being able to get this moment of courage and then just dive Slardar, start taking creep shots, and you could probably just do more damage to Slardar than Slardar can do you with the Crush, just with doing that. Like, already the Slardar is really messed up.
So the one thing I feel that Elite Wolves have found the advantage in is that Kappa Ross, or the Magnus, kind of skilled for being against the tri-lane, or built for being against a tri-lane, and so Ven has that extra little bit of base damage, has that Orb of Venom in the Essence Shift, so he should be able to zone him out pretty effectively. Masoku, though, he's going to be found out top lane. The arrow's going to fly. It's not going to connect onto the Wind Ranger, and now with the Arctic Burn there and the Leap not skilled up, he's in a bit of trouble, but only that level 1 Brain Sap, and he'll be just fine for now to back off. Will cost him a self, though.
I'm not even sure if they get the kill on the Wind Ranger. Even if they do land the arrow, it would have been like 4-ish seconds. It would definitely be very close. But over towards mid, speaking of close, Slardar getting, again, messed up by the Legion Commander, is going to stick around. Yeah, he should know about the cooldown of Overwhelming Odds, which is the only way that Legion Commander gets this kill. But yeah, this is turning out to be a much better lane for Legion Commander than I thought. Like, I would think like 60-40, 70-30 at the worst, but this is Legion Commander just absolutely raffle stomping this Slardar right now, keeping him out of the lane. And again, just being able to bum rush the Slardar makes it so much better for Legion Commander. I can't help but feel that these lanes would have been slightly better for Elite Wolves if they just swapped the Slark and Slardar. As Slark, will have occasionally those problems as well, but at least with Essence Shift, at least with Leap, he stands a fighting chance, or at least an escaping chance.
Yeah. I guess putting Derp there early on when they saw that he only had the 2 shared tangles, burning him down at least one with that Arctic Burn has really helped out the LC. But yeah, feels like this lane is a little more skewed than it should be on paper, but either way, we'll see if N3 is able to recover himself a little bit mid. Generally speaking, you do kind of sack your Slardar early on in the off lane, trying to pick up that blink. He's actually going to take quite a bit of punishment here. Needs to be a bit careful. Does have the sprint to get away if need be, but I mean, Live for Your Love is more than willing to trade.
Arrow will miss, unfortunately. Now Smash, well, he's going to get slowed down a touch. Not a lot, though. Seems like Wind Ranger just wants to farm, doesn't even want to give chase. Now Stan King getting really deep in. There's no punishment here because it's only level 1 Mirana who already wasted her arrows, so you don't have to really worry about her. No base damage from this hero. Now the Nightmare on Tahihi just taking a quick snooze. Power shot to wake him up. What a way to do it. Stan King, though, is going to hit with the chains. Is there another arrow? There is. Point blank range. Can't miss it from here, but the Brain Sap's going to keep Stan King alive, at least for right now. Arrow's still being held. Sleight of Fist won't do it. Power shot through. Everyone's still alive somehow. Woo's now dropping low. Arrow's going to come in. Stan King will dodge it, but now there's another Searing Chains. It looks like Wind Ranger will be first blood. However, Smash is sitting in tower range. This one should kill him off, I think. No, the Dazzle's going to hit the heal. Brain Sap will kill off the Mirana, as Stan King is narrowly going to edge out an escape there. Yeah, it is going to be a 1-for-1 on top lane. Wind Ranger, however, dying first and giving up first blood towards the Elite Wolf side.
I think Masoku way too economic with that arrow there. When the Bane was close by, I think you just throw it out at 200 unit range there and kill him off. But yeah, waits a little bit too long and then actually whiffs on everyone. So either way, they still, as you mentioned, get the favorable trade with Smash surviving there and picking up the first blood. But either way, it feels like they could have got 2. Yeah.
Van going deep onto Kappa Ross right now, just working him down. Landed a pounce, landed a pack. And, taking a couple tower shots, but no big deal. This Magnus versus Slark matchup, we can already see it's reflected in the CS. Van with a slight lead, nothing too huge, but just being able to kill off the Magnus, when the same can't really be said about Magnus. Like, ideally, the only way he gets the kill is if he skewers the Slark back into tower range, but no Slark is going to fall for that until there's at least level 6 on the Magnus, so Van should have this lane completely on lockdown now that he has that free regeneration from his ultimate. even harassment from shockwaves, which is really the only way that Magnus holds on to this lane, is not going to be very effective.
Yeah, the only thing he's lacking at this point is mana, but will be able to sustain himself in lane now. And yeah, a little bit of the virtue of that early build towards the safe lane. Magnus only having the boots, not having a stout shield, able to just quietly get chipped down with that level 1 Essence Shift and the Orb of Venom. And Van going to continue to go to work here. Doesn't really need to be too worried about the solo kill potential until the RP is up. And by then, he's more than regenerated. Back to a very healthy state. Mid lane, though, Masoku stalking. He's going to have to...
They saw him. They see him, actually. So I'm pretty sure this isn't going to land unless Masoku is just some sort of Mirana god. And he's pretty good, but I don't know if any Mirana's player is capable of landing that.
He's not quite Sing Sing or throwback Sing Sing, anyways. But
what, 2 years ago Sing Sing? 1 year ago? I don't even know anymore.
6.71 Sing Sing. Just a random number, but yeah, either way, Masoku... generally see him get a little bit more done than this in the early game, but I mean, he's only level 2, but I guess in the aggressive tri-lane scenario, you're never going to find too much farm. They do cast the Sleight of Fist, Searing Chains, jump forward, there's the arrow, the Cold Embrace will be there for now. Dazzle's coming forward, the Shadow Wave already used though, so they cannot use it offensively, and now Smash is in a bit of trouble. Does not have the Flame Guard as he skills 2 into the Sleight of Fist. Brain Sap will bring down Masoku, the Shockwave going to come through, Mystical going to try and TP out, Shackle's going to stop him from doing so. He'll get off a pretty nice nuke, but... ends up going down, double kill, going the way of the Bane, and certainly a support, which is nice to have some farm on.
Mikelorus also teleported up here. Wasn't really needed, but hey, he spent a TP and probably got his money back. Over towards mid lane now. They're going to dive in deep towards Live For Your Love. Arrows coming in from behind, and Slark will grab the kill. Brain Sap onto the Slaughter. Won't quite kill him off. With the sprint, he should be able to escape, but Van actually is going to pop a regen rune, thinking about going in for a little bit more. It's only 2 supports with no mana, but this does involve diving a tower, and it looks like Van is going to reconsider because, well, he knows that the enemy knows that he's there, so yeah, no sense in pushing it. You get a Legion Commander kill, and Legion Commander is a hero that he will definitely have to at least prioritize to some extent over in this mid lane, getting a little bit of free space for the Slardar, but not by a huge margin, even though there are tied in levels, even though Legion Commander has not grabbed the dual victory yet. I'm pretty sure that's going to be coming, especially if Slardar decides to play this mid lane to its limits.
Yeah, and he feels like he's a little underfarmed at this point. Does N3 on the Slardar, but he's level 7, so that's certainly nice. Having the amp damage up this early on is going to be very helpful towards the kill potential of the Radiant side. They're going to drop a little bit of a deep ward here, and they're going to see that the Wind Ranger is pretty much by her lonesome with the level 2 Sleight of Fist. Pretty decent range there for Smash, but won't be able to get in. They missed the Sleight of Fist Searing Chains arrow combo before. So Wind Ranger feeling pretty safe in this lane. If she's able to get the Wind Run off before they land the arrow, more often than not, she should be able to survive through it.
I wonder how much Root know about this Ember Spirit build, because he actually has no guard. They should know at this point that they should like figure he has at least one, but he actually just doesn't. They're going to try to go for bottom lane. Van, though, can get skewered out, still alive, is going to get poked down eventually. Winter Blast would have done it, but he gets the kill on the Magnus first. So he does get the experience from that, and you know it's going to be fine for Bane, it's going to be fine for Winter Wyvern. Both those heroes actually getting pretty close to level 6, but bottom lane just even trades there, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be fine for both sides to make those even trades, but I think the real curious thing to me is that Live For Your Love is still not really looking to play that aggressively. I mean, obviously just wants his Blink Dagger, but hasn't even made any real movements as far as getting kills are concerned.
Yeah, and both of these mid laners have stopped off for the preliminary items before rushing the Blink Dagger. They both have Tread's Bottle at this point and are sitting on comparable net worths. Top lane Skewer back onto Smash is actually going to get Mikelorus to safety away from that Sleight of Fist Searing Chains arrow combo. And now Mystico in a bit of trouble. Skewer is on cooldown for another 20 seconds, but they should be able to chase down this Dazzle. He has a Grave and a Shadow Wave available. And we'll be able to pop that and try and TP out. Nightmare's going to be there, though, and that's going to stop him. Meanwhile, underneath the tower, TPs are inbound from the Wind Ranger. Smash needs a little bit of trouble. The Searing Chains is not going to hit on the Wyvern. He's going to be able to slow him and chase him down. They do not have level 6. Shackle will latch. Power Shot is there. Magic Stick keeps him up for now, but they're going to rotate through with the Shockwave and the Brain Sap. And Derp actually going to find the kill with that last right click. Nice turn of events going around top lane for Root.
It's the perfect time for Root to get those kills in the Ember Spirit. He's almost level 6. And, you know, level 6 on Ember Spirit usually is great, but Ember Spirit, even if he is to grab level 6, he's still not going to be out of the woods just yet because he has no Flame Guard. And Root at this point definitely know that the Ember Spirit has 1 point or less of Flame Guard because, you know, Ember Spirit going for that dive would have used it for sure. And the fact that Smash didn't is going to show off his skill build. So Root, if they really want to, they could just sit on this Ember Spirit knowing that he has no magic resistance at all. And then Wind Ranger just gets so much more effective versus that hero. Level 3 power shot ordinarily won't do jack to an Ember, but is actually able to kill him off. Van, in the meantime, is able to clear out this bottom tier 1. He's being stalked by a smoke, kind of, but it looks like the smoke will instead find the Slardar. Unfortunately, there's no Legion Commander here. They just need a Shockwave and a Brain Sap, though. That's a dead Slardar. But still, oh man, Legion Commander would have loved to have that dual damage. Unfortunately, just not to be up towards top lane. They're going to go deep once again. Smash will land the Chain Searing Fist, and this time does have a Remnant to jump to. Still, he's going to take a little bit of damage. He has the Dazzle right behind him, and he's going to actually turn around Searing Chains, trying to raise Derp. The curse is there. I don't think they have enough damage to kill him off right now. A little power shot through, and it looks like the Dazzle's going to take that to the face. But after all said and done, it's just one kill going the way of Rooch. The farming Slardar slowing down his Blink Dagger by just that much.
I mean, so them investing in this Ember Spirit Mirana combo with the Ember build this early on really hurts Smash's solo kill potential. And at this point, he's only got 40 CS, and he's 5th overall on net worth, so I don't know exactly what they've gained by this tri-lane. Bottom lane, Van in a bit of trouble. He'll be able to pounce out. But yeah, I feel like the Ember is a lot further behind even than the metrics indicate at this point. I mean, he's nowhere near a set of drums or even treads if he's going to stop off for those. And not having the Flame Guard available to him, generally you would expect that Ember around the level 9 mark with like a 3-1-4 build able to start solo picking people. But without all that damage available, it's going to be hard. He's going to be hard pressed to do so without his supports.
Well, there they have Van. That might be good enough, although Wind Run is going to prevent a lot of this damage, especially with that Embrace there. He's just sitting duck for that arrow, which will land and should be able to kill off the Wind Ranger. Van is not able to actually kill off the Winter Wyvern. Flew into the trees. Stand King is going to arrive, and he's going to Nightmare up the Dazzle, but they really need more heroes here, because Van is just going to run rampant, killing off the Dragon, and has another Blink Dagger in just 7 seconds. They can look to wrap around for this Bane. In the meantime, the rest of the Root side are over in the mid lane doing something. I'm not really sure what. Trying to go for the Slardar pick, I suppose. They did use RP for that and didn't actually do that much damage. There was no duel used. So yeah, Elite Wolves just getting the jump on the Root Gaming side, killing off really the only relevant hero that does damage in that scenario. And we're just being happy with that. Van is, he chose to go for this Blink Dagger, and Blink Dagger versus Shadow Blade, in my opinion, distinctions for Slarks are usually quite minimal. But once you get either of those two items, you're allowed to go for kills like that, and the kills just happen so damn quick because he has, at this point, maxed out Pounce and maxed out Pact.
Yeah, really curious to me why the LC doesn't TP in top there. Feels like Van was pretty deep. At one point, Smash was completely out of the engagement. He TP'd back to base. And while the Wyvern was still alive, felt like the LC could have made a rotation. She's found quite a bit of farm, though. 2nd overall net worth. And should have a big item coming out soon, it feels.
Tower will fall. They're looking. Everyone is to the north right now, and these two heroes are so slippery. The Ember Spirit and the Slark. They do have the Blink Dagger on Legion Commander, and I don't believe this was spotted by the Radiant Observer. And with their positioning, they may want to actually just collapse in onto Root. But this Blink Dagger on Legion Commander is going to pose quite a few problems, especially for Van right now, who I think was just spotted, maybe by the Bane. I don't know.
Looks like everyone kind of dispersing.
The darkness is Slark's ally. He's going to wrap around. He has vision of absolutely everyone, but he still doesn't quite know that there's a Blink Dagger. He's going to jump in towards the Wind Ranger. Again, Wind Run will prevent her from outright dying, but the Searing Chains are there, still taking a little bit more damage. They have to respect the Magnus Sphere right now, which is going to land onto Smash, but that's about it. Oh no, there's a Blink Duel. That's not it. They'll kill him off with the power shot. Slark, in the meantime, will get cursed up. Takes no damage from that, but still, it's a dual victory for Legion Commander, and Elite Wolves kind of throw away their Ember Spirit there.
Their communication from Root side has been super impressive. I mean, that was a skewer into an angled shackle shot into a duel there. I mean, they've been really, really on point together in terms of the synergy of their abilities. And thus far, it feels like they're kind of impenetrable here. I mean, Van has really been the only one able to find anything. 4 of the 6 kills and 1 assist. So 5 of the 6 kills for the Radiant side right now are contributed to, at least, by Van. Feels like, yeah, this Ember, I mean, in the hands of such a capable player, feels so under his potential in terms of his power curve.
I feel like Elite Wolves just got a little bit too cute with their lanes. They're like, okay, how can we fully abuse these heroes to the maximum? How can we max out our greed? And this is pretty much how you max out your greed. Like, Slardar mid lane having a really tough time. At least now he has Blink Dagger, so he's ready to roll. But it might just be like this Ember Spirit a little bit too far behind at this stage. And Ember Spirit, he is a hero that can, in theory, recover just because of how slippery he is and how he's usually able to get out of those team fights after taking a kill. Even that's good enough. But at this point, I don't even know if he has that much to contribute. Sleight of Fist early on is not exactly a skill that you're excited to level up. They're going to duel Van down towards bottom. And it looks like Legion Van will do it by herself. She didn't need overwhelming odds. Okay, Slark is going to die to the Legion.
I mean, picking up an early blink, you are lacking stats. And often we see the Slarks stop off for something like a set of drums or even a Shadow Blade beforehand. But yeah, able to pick that off is a very nice one for the second duel win for Live for Your Love. And he waited so long to get active that both of these duel wins are level 2 duel wins. Stan King.
If I arrow you, will you die? Oh, there's the crush. It's going to be extremely painful. Stan King is going to get stunned forever. He's going to drop. Derp does arrive. Curse now onto the Mirana. She still has her leap. This TP from Caparos coming in really slowly, but they will land a shackle. Grab the Mirana kill. Unfortunately, no Blink Dagger in the Magnus, so they can't kill off the Slaughter as well. Thinking a 1-for-1 trade, but this Bane is worth a lot. He's 5-1-2. Like, you're just going over how Elite Wolves were participating with the Slark, but this Bane has been absolutely everywhere for Root.
Yeah, and he is level 7, so certainly a worthy pick-off there. He's a little bit underfarmed in terms of items, but has been playing a hard support role, buying quite a bit of wards, and so yeah, he's certainly over-leveled at this point, so it seems to be a nice trade. There was a lot of TP rotations in as well, and yeah, as you mentioned earlier, the one positive for Smash is that he is one of those heroes that, despite being behind, can feel safe more than often farming in risky areas on the map. So he will pick up his drums now and can continue to get active, but actually continuing to max up Sleight of Fist. I would have expected him to go maybe 4-2-4 at this point, but he's going to continue to go that route. Hopefully he'll get up a Battle Fury soon, helping with his farm. Bot lane, though, duel is going to be found onto N3, and Slardar going to go down after his comrade dies mid lane. He's been down for 40+ seconds here. Shackle not going to land on Mystical, but they do get the grip, and the overwhelming odds will be there to finish it off. They don't have the dual cooldown, of course, so just bringing him down swiftly is the right call there. And now Focus Fire, unfortunately, on cooldown, but they will be able to pressure this tower.
Again, it just seems like Root are just communicating just a little bit better than the Elite Wolves side. It may just be the after effects of the greedy lane. Van's now going to try to go for Derp. Unfortunately, this dragon flies. Unfortunately for the Winter Wyvern, she doesn't have Curse, so killing off Van, not exactly a possibility right now. But still, it's a tier 1 tower to be destroyed by Root, and now this Legion Commander can solo kill, I want to say, anyone with this Blade Mail, especially if she blinks into a creep wave. Like, Van has a regen rune, he's probably feeling safe, but he shouldn't, even though he, I guess, does see the Legion Commander.
I mean, she's hitting for 160 damage 17 minutes into the game. This is pretty scary for the Radiant side, and the Dire have been pretty good about keeping vision. I mean, if you look across the map, the Elite Wolves have been even more diligent with their warding, but Dire do have some pretty aggressive vision, and they can certainly start to take advantage of this. Live for Your Love pretty much AFK for the first 10 minutes of the game farming, and it seems like that to some extent has paid off. He is sitting atop the net worth chart.
He's going to get Empower as well. It's only level 1, and Empower on Legion Commander is not amazing, but it's something. Oh, arrow coming in towards mid. It lands onto Derp, though. Caparos is here to protect the Wyvern. I don't think he has enough protection there. Ember Spirit's going to slice him down. It's a very easy kill, and these are the kills that you would expect to have happen multiple times, at least with this aggressive of a lane. Elite Wolves kind of need to land those types of kills many more times than they already have. Now it looks like we're going to have some blood over in mid. We have overwhelming odds, no blink duel. They know that the Slardar is there. They know that there's at least one other hero there as well. And Legion Commander doesn't want to give damage to Slardar. That's not really a great situation. So they're going to play it safe. For Root, they probably are just going to wait, I think, until their Blink Dagger's up on the Magnus and their Wind Ranger has her Aghanim Scepter. And those two shouldn't really be too far off.
So they do pick the level 6 on Mirana. So on top of this smoke, they have the Moonlight Shadow available to them as well at this point. They're going to look to get active. N3 is, for some reason, at the back of the train. Needs to get up towards the front with that Blink Dagger. And will sprint and start to do so. They have Van with his Blink Dagger to initiate as well. But currently, they're not going to find anyone in the northern hemisphere of the map. Although Stan King may run into his own demise here. Mid lane, all heroes present. This could be really good or really terrible coming up for Elite Wolves, and their smoke is going to expire soon. There's no dire vision immediately on the cliff, so even if it does, yeah, they do not currently see them.
They
but
did
it's
ping out on the Remnant when Smash
Now
dropped
they
it.
see
I
them.
don't know exactly what that means, and now Power Shot's going to scout everyone. Moonlight Shadow is up, and it looks like Van's going to be coming from the south. Blink forward, Blink out rather from Legion Commander, and Derp gets left behind. Arrow's going to fly onto Stan King, and they do take down the Witch Wyvern. No curses available. Grip now onto Smash. Should not last for that much longer. Stan King going to voluntarily disrupt himself. Takes a huge hit from that Sleight of Fist, and now the jump in from Van. Stan King, a lot of trouble, will fall. Rooter's getting picked apart right now as E-Wolves are just chipping them down. Now another Arrow Chains combo. Caparos is going to get nailed by that one. Crush will kill off this mag. No, they're going to let him live for Smash to get the kill. Wow, look at that discipline. Jumping forward for more. Now they have the Crush for the Wind Ranger. They'll take her down. Searing Chains, and it will be the Ember Spirit to grab that one as well. That was not a fight. That was a slaughter. Elite Wolves not even committing to that, and we're waiting for it. They were waiting for Elite Wolves to just dive right in. But they never really did. They were poking with the maxed out Sleight of Fist, and though it doesn't do that much damage, it does enough.
Complete textbook divide and conquer from Elite Wolves there, and maybe a slight bit of miscommunication at the start, a little bit of panic. Live for Your Love blinks back towards the north and isolates the Wyvern at the beginning, and not having the Winter's Curse or the Cold Embrace seemed to really hinder their ability to team fight there. Then they got a huge slight on top of the amplified damage onto the Bane, and press the attack was already used from the Legion, so the Legion just kind of backs off, and the arrow comes through on the Magnus. So very well played and stretched out engagement, overall from Elite Wolves, and that's going to bring them right back into this game after things were looking a little dicey for them. Now they've got 3 of the top 4 net worth contenders on the chart.
Even though that was 5 versus 5, technically, it almost seemed like Elite Wolves just took like 4 5 versus 1s somehow, and that's exactly what they want to do when they have an Ember Spirit who's going to max out Sleight of Fist first over Shield, and a Slark. Like, he always wants to be in those smaller scale engagements if he can help it. And I mean, they have RP, they have the Winter's Curse. They should be looking for the full 5-on-5 Rumbles, but there was no 5-on-5 there because Elite Wolves were never really fully engaged in that fight. So really well executed fight there from Elite Wolves. It is going to be hard to replicate because a good reason of why that fight went the way it did was because there's so much open space here for Elite Wolves to maneuver themselves. In a smaller, clustered up area, like, near a tier 2 tower or something like that, then there's lots less space to work with. It's going to be a lot more difficult to replicate that, but still, if they are able to, then Root, they need to be a little bit more assertive with their initiation. Blink Duel, not exactly the initiation style you want, but may be the initiation style you have to commit to. Blink Skewer also not bad.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of waiting for perhaps some better scenarios with their ultimates, but holding on to them entirely is not going to be ideal either. And definitely so. You have 4 great team fight ultimates, and Wind Rangers is no slouch either with the focus fire, and they were only able to use that half duration Fiend's Grip through that whole engagement. So looking at the metrics now, I mean, E-Wolves have turned things back in their favor. They're sitting on about a 3K net worth lead and almost that in terms of experience. So things looking good now, especially considering that how far behind Smash was. He's now got a couple points in the Flame Guard, has his boots of travel, can be completely active across the map, and of course one of the best heroes with that 45-second TP in the Ember Spirit.
And Van is also really loaded. Like, this dude is rich. He's got to complete up his Scotty right now. Has a double damage rune for just a little bit, and I don't really know if anyone from can escape this guy anymore. Definitely they will need all of their allies there to help out against this Slark. And the Legion Commander is still leading in net worth, and that is nice. Salt Cuirass, a big item to have on any hero, let alone an LC. But it just feels like the rest of Root, they're just not getting quite enough farm. They're just a little bit too scared of getting the farm. Wu almost has that Aghanim Scepter, and that will definitely help out the Wind Ranger, but this is going to be like, what, a 24-minute Aghanim Scepter or something like that? It's going to be super late for this Wind Ranger, and though it will increase their damage potential, I mean, are you really going to try to focus fire and kill off like an Ember Spirit or a Slark? Like, that just won't really work out ever. They'll just jump away from you.
Yeah, Dire, I mean, you can kind of tell the state of the game just by the warding. The Dire have some pretty defensive vision up right now. Just have the one cliff ward here, and it looks like they did try to make a rotation towards the Radiant Jungle, but unfortunately for Mystical, he drops a sentry just out of range of this Dire ward, so they will have information as to the fact that Masoku and N3 are pretty much by their lonesome in this top lane, but they will look to rotate out as the rotation comes in from the Dire side, so we'll be safe for now, and the tower is still outside of deny range, so nothing lost for the Radiant.
Well, I don't really know what the Dire are necessarily waiting for at this point. Like, I would trust that E-Wolves' strategy is just, sit back and do nothing. They have a hand of Midas on Slardar, and Slardar's ceiling is something we don't ordinarily see because he just doesn't farm all that much, but in such an elongated game. A Slardar late game can go absolutely nuts. Of course, Slark and Ember Spirit, we all know what they can do. But hell, even a Mirana who can get a little bit of extra farm, maybe grab a late hand of Midas on her. The late game power of Elite Wolves here is insane, and for Root, it's pretty much just Legion Commander and Winter Wyvern to be doing the damage. Magnus has some pretty sick utility. A couple of good RPs can win you a couple of fights, but as far as getting that damage up, it's pretty much only 2 heroes. And now Van's going to jump for this Legion Commander. Oh, Chains will cancel the TP, and now Livery Love's going to have to try to fight his way out of this. He will not do so. Slark is going to grab that kill, an easy kill for the Elite Wolves side, and they're not done just yet. Oh, RP is going to land onto the Slaughter. However, the arrow lands into the Wind Ranger, so there's no follow-up to this at all. Slaughter's just going to force staff away. They leap away to prevent the Shackle from landing. Now with the sprint out, Slaughter is going to be free and clear, so it is going to be, a successful engagement on 2 sides of the map for Elite Wolves.
Yeah, well played altogether. Nice Moonlight Shadow there as well from Masoku, keeping his Slardar safe, and they're going to look to re-engage perhaps now, but without the Ember or the Slark, I don't know how much real kill potential they have aside from a miraculous arrow, but the Wyvern could be the one killable target, and they're going to jump forward with the amp damage. One big bash. Shadow Wave is there. He'll barely get the Embrace off, but no one's even nearby, and they're just going to hang around and finish him off.
That Winter Wyvern was pretty much without hope. You know that you're in trouble. Oh, well, bottom lane, Zane is in trouble. He just got jumped by Van, and Wu can actually do nothing but watch. The Blink Dagger's going to be up on Slark soon, so the Wind Ranger has to be very careful. The Wyvern will keep her safe, but still, Pact and Pounce is a lot of burst damage, and Wind Ranger doesn't really want to deal with that if she doesn't have to, but you know that you're in a good situation where as Slardar you feel capable of the fact that you can go for Blink, Amplify, Crush. It's obviously ideal, that's what you want to be doing every single time, but hey, you have the time, you might as well let the Crush do that much more damage.
Yeah, and Van has a gem, so diving that deep all by your lonesome just kind of shows the amount of hubris he feels at this point. I mean, sitting well atop the net worth chart and not feeling really killable. With that ultimate available, of course, he is a very elusive catch for Root's side. So don't mind that altogether. But I mean, up against a Bane, if you missed your Dark Pact just a little bit, you could get caught out. And feeding that gem might be a pretty big deal at this point. But Live for Your Love farming just east of Van right now. Neither of them going to see each other, of course, but the rest of his lineup in the Radiant is looking to find someone defending this tier 2. So we see Van back off now, as since no one is really attending to either top lane or mid lane, it does feel like the Dire side are smoked up in Roshan or looking for a kill.
And they're really not doing any of that. Like it really feels like the Legion Commander is the only one to be getting any sort of gold here for the Root Gaming side. Like Wu is, well, really close to being in a lot of trouble, though it does seem like she should dodge this arrow, or at least there's no capitalization on that arrow, so yeah, she'll escape. But I mean, Elite Wolves, they were just camping out this top lane, the jungle for the Root side, and they were actually getting some decent farm on multiple heroes. Like again, Midas on the Slardar, and he's going to be getting his farm no matter what. The Slark has another 3,200 gold after the Eye of Scotty, and the Ember Spirit looks like he has Lincoln Sphere on the way. That's an interesting one. I mean, it is very good versus the Bane and the Legion Commander, but it seems like Ember Spirit is going to take a little bit more of a backseat route to the damage department. He's going to leave that to the Slark and the Slardar.
Yeah, I guess the Winter's Curse deals with him pretty well. Yeah, Lincoln's is kind of feels a bit underwhelming. I feel like he could have gone a little more risky with his build, but hard to question Smash's Ember Spirit play. And they do have a lot of damage potential with the amp damage there, so he's going to feel for now that just kind of securing the late game, as you mentioned before, having the Midas up, having this lead they have, having a tri-core versus a dual core, that they're going to feel safe to go for this early defensive item build.
It's a great item for any hero for Elite Wolves. Just seems like it's Ember Spirit, man. You should be looking to smash things. That's what you do. I mean, your name's Smash.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
Bottom lane, they're going to TP out. And yeah, they'll be safe for now. And things kind of just going to stagnate. And as we kind of alluded to already, this seems to definitely favor Elite Wolves, especially considering the state of the game. I mean, it's kind of better at farming with the Dark Pact in the jungle and the amp damage and the Sleight of Fist. And you've got like kind of single target heavy heroes in these Legion and the Wind Ranger. And already it feels like the Radiant are going to scale better. So we need to see some plays. I mean, we haven't seen an RP in 28 minutes.
It's been a hell of a long time. I think there was one RP on the top lane, like to lock down Smash, and that was it. There hasn't really been many angles, to be fair, but still, like, you have to be looking for these a little bit more aggressively. Now that they have the Aghanim Scepter, they can bulldoze these towers, at least the tier 1, super easily. We will destroy that one without too much of an issue, but, you know, actually coming back and holding your own tier 2, I'm not really sure if that's actually possible right now for Root, because look at the positioning from E-Wolves. They have a whole bunch of heroes in darkness right now, so in the fog of war, you have no idea how many heroes are there. You gotta assume that Van has some backup. You don't know who is there, you don't know how many and where they are, so it is going to be a tier 1 for tier 2 tower trade after all is said and done. Slaughter actually making a really big tunnel to get into the back lines. That's a shame that that didn't pan out, because that would have been freaking hilarious, but yeah, he's just going to teleport back and continue farming up. He's gotten Travels and Perseverance, like that's where all the gold on Slaughter has been going. This guy is actually really rich for a Slardar, and he's going for probably another Lincoln Sphere. I mean, Lincoln Sphere is so good in this game.
Yeah, and I mean, perhaps this is we start to see the reasoning why Root has really been unable to find any favorable engagements is that E-Wolves have these tempo controlling items and tempo controlling heroes. I mean, you got Blink Initiation from the Slark, you've got 2 heroes with the Boots of Travel who can be ever present on the map. The Slark with his Shadow Dance can be ever present on the map. And so those 3 in that ganking squad are definitely able to assert themselves and really kind of push back Root into their side of the maps. I mean, you look at the state of all the lanes, the only lane that's even across the river for the Dire side was just attended to by 3 members of Root. So, yeah, things looking a little bit grim despite it seeming fairly even. I mean, it's not even a 10k net worth lead. It's about 10k in the way of experience, but the kill score is pretty even as well. Things just looking a lot better for the late game for E-Wolves, and it looks like Root are not going to be able to even make it there.
I feel like that one team fight over in the mid lane where E-Wolves just picked apart Root just like jammed up all of their momentum, because I mentioned in the draft that Root were kind of ended up with a snowball-y lineup, and if you're actually just sitting back 30 minutes in, not looking for those team fights, well, your snowball is going to be non-existent. In fact, E-Wolves now are going to be the ones to jump in, and they're going to pounce in onto Wu. Van's going to absorb the Lincoln Sphere, something huge amount of damage in the Wind Ranger. Van's just going to sit there and steal stats because he can, and he will get skewered back, but he has the Aegis, will also kill the Wind Ranger. Stand King still has the grip, did cancel it, but might just die before he can actually get a chance. The Slark is just running wild right now. Here comes the Slardar. He's going to get cursed up, and Van will do a lot of damage to his buddy. Might even kill him off. The Atlantic Crush, that'll chainsaw the Magnus enough. They will get the kill. Searing Chance of the Bane will drop him to 11 HP. He'll narrowly edge out and escape, same as the Dazzle. But Van just blinked into, like, what, everyone from Root and got away without losing the Aegis. He's at full HP. He can go in for that again.
And they took Direside's gem as well, so if the map was already not controlled entirely by the Radiant side, it certainly will be very soon. They're going to take this tier 2 completely uncontested, as a couple other heroes brought down. Big arrow hit there from Masoku as well, as they were converging on the Slark onto the Legion Commander, so she was never able to get a duel off, and brought down pretty quickly despite the Winter's Curse effectively killing off that Slardar. Still a good trade, and they get a tier 2, and they take the Direside's gem.
Pretty sure you don't steal stats from your buddies. I actually don't know.
That's it. That would be an interesting mechanic. That would
Tactical,
probably
sitting next to your Slardar to steal his stats.
I want to say no, but that would be really interesting if it did.
It says enemy heroes, but I don't know what Valve is doing. There's lots of weird interactions. But either way, Van, he just got like so many stats in that last fight. Like he was just sitting there banging up against that Embrace of the Winter Wyvern, and yeah, you're not doing any damage, but you're getting more damage for afterwards, and Van just went to town with that. Now he has an Invis Rune. I mean, he has Invis Rune and Blink Dagger, so he has it all, and he's looking for the top lane. MKB is going to demolish this Wind Ranger, and if she gets hit a single time, she will just die, although it seems like the Dazzle showing his face might have blown that entire thing. I feel like if the Slark just went for it, he could have gotten that kill.
It seemed like Van playing a bit safe there with the Aegis available. He was very close to the Dire base. And I guess you don't want to feed an advantage. You know that very soon you'll be able to group up as 5 and probably walk up high ground and take a lane of Rax. I mean, the Aegis is going to be reclaimed here. So, yeah, maybe with one last glance you're able to jump in and find a kill top lane. But still doesn't feel like it's really going to stifle their ability to close this one out. And considering the early game, Elite Wolves have really been able to turn this one back. I mean, Root looked almost flawless early on with their combinations, but since then it's been pretty lackluster, and they've been kind of the puppeteers Elite Wolves have in this one. So Legion Commander still doesn't have a duel since that 3rd or 4th win early game.
I still want to say that should Root find themselves in a full-scale team fight, they should be able to take it at least half decently. But, I mean, it's been so long since we've seen it, and it's so difficult to find these team fights because you're trying to go for a Slark, you're trying to go for an Ember Spirit, a Slardar with Blink Dagger Force Staff. Good luck catching on to any of those heroes. And now we have Moonlight Shadow actually up from the Mirana. They are going to, well, waste Dust Root. Looks like their smoke just naturally timed out, and, I mean, this is as far as they're comfortable going. I don't really blame them because of the insane initiation range from Root, like, I mean, from E-Wolves rather. Like, they have Blink Slark, they have Arrow, they have Blink Force Staff Crush. If Root are even like all together, there's no guarantee that they all get away, so they are just absolutely terrified right now. But while they're terrified and kind of jammed up in their base, Elite Wolves are farming it up. And this is going to be like a slow and steady game for Elite Wolves. Again, they are in absolutely no rush. Once they get 6 slots on Slark, I guess time to grab Aegis and time to go up high ground because there's nothing better to do.
Yeah, Roshan is going to be a pretty long spawn. I believe it's around the 9 to 10 minute mark, so it's going to be a little while before Elite Wolves are able to pick that up. But yeah, with the smoke just expended from the Dire side, I mean, they're not going to create any pressure, and as is pretty obvious at this point, Elite Wolves are pretty much taking advantage of the entire map's worth of farm, aside from a small portion of the Dire jungle. So, I mean, they're really content to sit back for as long as they need to until Van perhaps picks up this Butterfly, until the next item comes out for Smash, which will be a Battle Fury, and that's coming out pretty soon as well. Slardar, maybe Lotus Orb, has the Perseverance already. See what that ends up being as well. Could be another Lincoln Sphere.
The plate mail, though, is going to be insane on Slardar. I mean, just armor on anyone from Elite Wolves is going to be insane if they can actually manage to pick that one up. Ooh, they'll find the Dazzle. The Blink Duel. That's a win for Root. He's stuck around a little bit too long in the top lane, but it is a small win, a very small win at that. Dual damage, of course, probably the most relevant thing to come out of that, but for Elite Wolves, I'm pretty sure this doesn't change the gameplay in the slightest. Like, this is the type of gameplay that you ordinarily would expect from a team with, like, a Lycan, a Broodmother, and a Tinker, like that type of draft. They just don't have that. They're still getting away with it and are just so terrified of leaving their base. They are going to shove the top lane quite a bit, but for Elite Wolves, that just is like a whole bunch of dollar signs, and I'm sure someone's going to get up there and clear that one out. Root are actually going to stick with this wave. I like this play. I mean, Elite Wolves have really only been committing a handful of heroes, like 1 or 2 at a time, to defend these types of like mini pushes.
They are playing very scared though, but yeah, I mean, you have some momentum.
There it is.
You kind of got to chase it, and now Smash is going to reveal himself without a defensive. Oh, he does have a defensive run in it, so he has one over by the Roshan pit. So. But he's going to jump into blink range, or dual range here. They jump forward. They're going to pop the Lincolns nicely. The grip is there on top of the duel. And Smash is going to drop. And the Roshan's still not up for 2 minutes, so not going to affect that skirmish. But either way, 2 nice pickoffs in about 2 minutes. Top lane, though, Kaparos in a lot of trouble. First hit bash. He's a dead-end Magnus. Van not even needing any support on that one. And MKB plus Butterfly. I mean, he's even hitting for over 300 damage a pop.
And he's hitting insanely quickly as well. So, yeah, Slark can still just get these solo kills very easily. It is a good play from Root, and they're actually going to stick around for perhaps a little bit more. Blade Mail, Blink in Duel. That is
15 seconds on duel.
enough to kill off this Slardar, if not for the Lincoln Sphere effect. They'll pop it, and they don't have the duel just yet. So, it looks like Slardar will actually escape and look to turn around. He's sprinting for it. He doesn't see anyone just yet, and now has derps in his sights. Amplified damage is there, and Winter Wyvern doesn't actually have the ability to fly. He's going to embrace himself, but Slardar is more than okay waiting for that to time out. And now he's going to start the beat down. Here comes the duel onto the Dazzle. Looks like the Dazzle may fall here, giving a little more damage towards Legion Commander, but now here comes the big boss. It's Van. He'll kill off Legion Commander, so yeah, you get the kill on the LC. That's kind of nice, but you end up losing your life for it. And now they're actually going to sprint forward, looking for a little bit more. It's Wu. He is going to Wind Run either. Looks like Wind Run versus Sprint is good enough for the Wind Ranger in this case, but still with 3 heroes on the deck, Elite Wolves are going to poke up the high ground with this sick damage from the Slark and just see what they can do. It's not really with the intention of taking down this tier 3, but if they can get it, so be it.
Yeah, already they're going to force out a Winter Wyvern buyback. The LC has buyback available as well. Unfortunately, Masoku does not have boots of travel, as Smash did, but they'll just back off for the Roche here, content with forcing that buyback and knowing that if the Dire do want to contest Roche, they're going to have to buy back on this Legion Commander as well. Going to leave a Remnant in the pit, and this is going to scout out Roshan in about 15 to 20 seconds. And the Battle Fury going to come out very soon for Smash as well. Was a nice set of engagements there top lane for Root, but they chased the Slardar, I feel, a little bit too far after not getting a duel off. Of course, it still being on cooldown there top lane. Smash is going to be able to farm up the top wave and Remnant back into the pit as Roshan respawns with probably a fresh Battle Fury picked up from the side chop after this next wave.
Now Ember Spirit split pushing is going to make it a little bit more similar to that Broodmother Tinker Lycan game that I was just describing. I mean, Elite Wolves are already kind of doing that, and Battle Fury is going to do nothing but help. They will actually be driven away from this Roche pit. Elite Wolves are playing this, I think, a little bit too safe, perhaps. Like, I mean, there's obviously no rush for them, but they could be like looking for these fights a little bit more aggressively, I feel, and looking to perhaps end the game soon, even since Root are just not doing anything. Granted, you're walking into an RP, you're walking into a Blink Duel, it's you're walking into Winter's Curse. Not exactly ideal situation there for Elite Wolves, especially without Smash, who is able to travel in now, but yeah, they will just slowly poke into Roche, though. Root, they're looking for an angle onto the Slaughter right now. Lincoln Sphere is going to absorb the Splinter Blast, but not the Curse. Now the Duel's here. It looks like Slaughter is just going to get worked down. The grip was held there by Stanking, but here comes reinforcements. They're going to jump into the backline, look for Kaparos. The Slark will not find that target. But so the Magnus is out, but everyone else is kind of stuck here. Magnus is tasked with defending, able to take down the Bane. Oh, they're looking for more heroes. They're all teleporting back right now. They land an RP right now onto the Ember Spirit. He has room to jump to. He's going to turn around and just slay the Magnus. Now blanking forward for the Wind Ranger. Well, she'll get away with the Wind Run, but over towards the bottom area, looks like they're still searching for heroes. There are no heroes there, so they're just wasting their time, but up towards top Root, they need to do something about this, and it has to involve the Legion Commander, I feel. Like, she could blink in and do a lot of damage. Sleight of Fist, though, onto the Wind Ranger. They do actually find the Winter Wyvern and kill her off in the jungle. It took a hell of a long time, but up towards top, the Raxes are dying in the meantime. They're going to lose another Lincoln Sphere proc. That is not the duel just yet. Legion's doing so much damage, but is actually unable to actually catch up to her targets right now because they are so elusive. They're going to dive in deep now. Blink Crush onto the Legion Commander. AC or not, she's going to get chopped down. In the meantime, heroes are still dying on this bottom lane, it seems. As Slark is actually, no, Fountain diving. Never mind. He's going to get dueled in the Fountain. And it looks like gripped as well. He will finally go down. But that is the last place I would expect to find a Slark. He just went ham all over Root. That's a get out of this game.
1,700 gold. He just fed a godlike, beyond godlike streak, doing that as well. That
YOLO,
is,
dude.
That is odd.
Gotta get those Fountain Dives kills, style points. Ember Spirit's still going in, and with the Blink Crush, they're gonna get the Ember Spirit a little more distance. He will be able to remnant out. And now Miran is actually going to take a snooze. She has a Yule Scepter. I'm not really sure if that'll help her. She's going to lift up the Legion Commander right now. Brain Sap, absorb the Lincolns. They have a Blink, no Duel. And a Blink Crush will slow them down. This Slaughter has been getting some sick value out of these crushes. The bottom lane in the meantime, while this is happening, He's been pushing. Tower down to
you're not on your Shadow Shaman, man. You can't just split push like that.
Dude, Shadow Wave kills the Creep Wave, easy.
Yeah, I mean, he did get 3/4 of the tier 3, so I'm not sure if Van was beaten on that beforehand, but Mystico, shades of the old not today there. But yeah, Van feeding himself over there, really odd. Maybe he bought up his Basher in the shop while doing it,
he
so
did.
Yeah, that's perhaps why he was present there in the first place. But once you go hard or go home. Once you commit, you got to stick around. But yeah, they just did a lot of work there. It was really unfortunate. It felt like a fraction of a second there. Kaparos jumps in for the RP on the Ember, and the Slardar comes in just a moment later from the TP. He was already TPing when he jumped in, and was able to crush him right after that RP. So wasn't able to get him back into a good enough range for his team to go on it. But this death on the Slark does secure a Roshan for the dire side.
Slark, though, I feel like only really dying because of the Fountain damage. Like, he has Butterfly and I have Scotty, but it's the Fountain. So as long as you don't do that as Slark, which is, it should be pretty easy for the Slark to, calm down just a little bit, take a breather, and not dive the Fountain, then he should be able to survive those in the future. The biggest part of this Aegis, not really for Root to go out and make an aggressive play of their own. I really don't think that they're in any position to do that. They're just denying it to the E-Wolves side, who have shown that they can very easily clear out Roshan if they are presented with the opportunity to do so. Arrow over top lane, no, a little bit too far away. Kaparos is going to dodge that, but now E-Wolves, I mean, even after losing the Slark there, you can still see the spike in gold in the E-Wolves direction. It's just doing nothing but climbing in their favor. Just slowly but surely, items are coming up, and the same cannot really be said about Root. Like, they have a Glimmer Cape on Magnus. Took them like 20 minutes to get that. Now they're going to jump in for Legion Commander. Aegis is up, but will it actually help her? Van is doing a lot of damage to himself right now. The Embrace is going to save the Legion Commander for a little while longer. Arrow will chain stun her, but it looks like they will fall back, expecting the Magnus to be right around the corner, and they're not wrong.
Yeah, she has Aegis
still
as
being
well.
very safe.
Yeah, so even if they commit really hard there, she comes back with a second life, and does have the MKB and the AC, so isn't hitting poorly at this point. Like, definitely can bring down the Slark if they lock him down long enough. They still have the curse and the RP, as you mentioned, and E-Wolves have been good about respecting the team fight of Root, especially near the pit there earlier, as you were alluding to. So Solar Crest pickup comes out for Mystico though, and he's building into his Aghanims as well. So all this plethora of physical damage coming out from the Ember, the Slark, and the Slardar, especially with that amp damage, is even going to get ramped up further.
Man, armor for both sides just at an absolute premium at this point. There's still no Salt Cuirass on the E-Wolf side. I don't really know who's going to be able to farm it and who actually wants to have it, but just having that aura is going to be huge just for survivability purposes. I mean, it's pretty much just the Legion Commander game at this point for Root. I mean, a little bit of Wind Ranger, of course, but she's kind of more of a background hero because she is already behind and she really isn't going to have any mechanic of getting ahead. No cleave, unfortunately, for her from Empower, so yeah, Elite Wolves, if they get Blanket Spheres and Assault Cuirasses and Vlads on like this Dazzle or something like that, or having an insane Weave, that might be better. Aghanim Scepter is probably not coming anytime soon for this Dazzle, but if he does get, you know, a Weave off on just like 4 of his allies, they're going to be pretty much invulnerable. What
do you think the next item on Slardar is going to be at this point? I mean, they could use a Shiva's. It's not the best item on Slardar, but certainly the attack speed slow and the movement slow could be nice. They do have a lot of chase with the Slardar, Ember, and Slark, but I feel like he can kind of go for anything. Don't know what the best item for him at this point is, though.
Yeah, I'm not really sure. You could definitely go for one of those more utility-ish base items. Like, again, Vlad's on E-Wolves is going to be insane. I'm not really sure if they want Slardar to do that necessarily, although he is holding on to a build that doesn't exactly scream damage, so, like, going for an Assault Cuirass, something like that, it is amazing, obviously. And he's actually not that far away from it, but yeah, it seems like they just want this Slardar to be playing utility. And now that the Ember Spirit actually has his Daedalus completed, like, this is a pretty legit 45-minute Ember Spirit build off of what we saw from the early game of Smash. They can definitely afford to let this Slardar take a back seat, even just like tank up, just Raleigh for himself, be a disruptor in the front lines. And in that regard, you can even get a Sheep Stick.
Yeah, well, I was thinking Hex, Shiva's, AC kind of the obvious one too, especially to respond to the AC on the opposite side. But for now, N3 has picked up the Chainmail and the AC recipe, so will be a full AC for them. And yeah, as you mentioned, armor certainly at a very high priority for both sides. Refresher Orb coming out now for Van, and yeah, if he wasn't unkillable before this pickup, he should be now.
Now, Refresher Orb on Slark right now, I mean, it's not going to refresh a BKB or anything like that. It's pretty much only for double Shadow Dance, and that is insane. But is that better than Abyssal Blade? I'm inclined to say no.
And it's Abyssal Blade's cheaper too, so you would probably have buyback on top of the Abyssal, so yeah.
Or Moon Shards, even, like Moon Shards with SS15 insane.
Moon Shard is really nice for the vision as well. Probably one of the more underrated aspects of it, especially on Slark, who already has pretty damn good night vision. So, yeah, I mean, Refresher is... there's a reason you pick it up on Slark, but in this scenario, felt like a couple other items, as you mentioned, could have been a little more effective. Van could pretty much go for whatever he wants at this point, though. But he has been sitting on level 25 for a bit, and it's allowed the other heroes to catch up. Legion is now 24. I mean, the Wind Ranger is still level 17, so really not too worrisome there. But Moonlight Shadow going to be popped in. It's probably going to be scouted here top lane, but just for the intimidation factor, and the Slardar going to jump forward here. They're going to look to scout up the line.
Oh, there's the blink in. They're going to catch Wu right now. MKB is going to cut through this. They also get a crush onto, looks like nobody, but Wind Ranger already down, so nice damage output. Van has already Shadow Danced once. He, of course, has another one available to him, and they actually start this fight as soon as the Aegis times out for Root. They walk in, claim Raxes. Now they're just going to walk through all the other ones. Like, this is what I was talking about. They're so far ahead that they can probably look to end this game. They're going to jump towards Derp, crush and kill him in, like, one hit. Like, actually one hit. So, Root, like, there is no 5v5 fight here. Like, I don't even think it's possible anymore.
Yeah, there was no amp damage on that Wyvern either. They do buy him back, do have the Winter's Curse, and mid lane, a little bit of chipping going on. Arrow flies out, it's not going to hit anything. Jump forward from N3, he's going to get the amp damage. On to Live for Your Love, and the Legion, the only one forward right now. The Winter's Curse is there, and it is going to be popped off onto N3, but they've already disabled up the Legion, and she gets the duel off way too late. The Eul Scepter's there. RP is only onto one. The Fiend's Grip is onto the same target as well. Grave is there to keep N3 alive. They bring down 2 already. 3, in fact. The buyback comes out from the LC. There's no buyback from the Magnus. The Wind Ranger will respond in 10 seconds, but by that point, these Raxes are going to be forfeit mid lane, and already the range went out. Jump forward, though. Duel onto Van. Not going to be there in time. He had the Lincoln Sphere buff up anyways. Cold Embrace is there, but Smash bringing down the backlines. The Bane and the Wyvern going to be brought down. GG's going to be called. Live for Your Love left to her own devices. And they're even going to grave up N3 and keep him alive. And after what was a really, really solid early game for the underdogs in Root, E-Wolves just able to pull this one back, gain a lead, and never give it back up.
So apparently the item trigger that makes Elite Wolves go for that game-ending push is Refresher Orb Slark. So, you know, Abyssal Blade, Moonshard, screw that, man. Just get the Refresher Orb, win the game. Yeah, I feel like they could have done that a little while ago. Definitely that play of Moonlight Shadow into get really deep into the enemy base was something that caught Root off guard and ensured that the initiation would be on the Elite Wolves side. But this game didn't really feel like Root were playing a game. It really just felt like Elite Wolves were just doing whatever they want, and Root were just like dying all the time. I don't know if you got that same impression, but either way, this is going to be only game 1 in a best-of-2 series. Guys, Root have another chance to get a point, but Elite Wolves have already grabbed theirs. If they win the next one, it's going to be 2 additional points for them. I'm Mikelorus. I've been joined by mrpdota. All of our Twitter tags in the screen right now are in the title of the stream, and we'll be right back for game 2 between Elite Wolves and Root in just a bit.